Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome back, everyone, to Where Energy Meets the Divine. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome. It's very exciting. Before I go to what I call the phone lines, which are really pre-recorded questions that people leave us on SpeakPipe, which is a company that uploads in really great audio recording for us questions that people ask us from around the world. And then you get to hear them as I do, and then I answer them intuitively. It's really fun. So thank you, everyone, for leaving your questions, and thank you for enjoying this podcast. And I'm excited for anything that's helpful to anyone at any time. I'm grateful for that. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about the world, just a little bit about it, because we're about to enter 2026 and things are going to become even clearer. And that's where the discomfort is in the clarity, especially when we look at the US, but all over the world. There's a lot happening and changing. Even I think other countries looking at the US and going, oh my goodness, what's happening? I think in the US, we haven't been great at direct conversations. New York, you bet. Maybe some other states that I'm not familiar with, but we haven't been great at direct conversations. So a lot of people have not known what a lot of people believed. So there's been this shock and awe about women's rights, about culture and different colors of people's skin, all these weird things that spiritualists don't understand and make no sense to them, why anyone would care anything about anyone else's choices or where they were born or what their religion is or who they love, things that don't matter to us. You know, we believe in spirit and we believe everyone is lovable and deserving and worthy. So we're having this conversation in the United States and perhaps in other parts of the world too, that's uncomfortable, it's embarrassing, it's shocking, but highly necessary. Because if we're going to change, which is going to happen, we're all going to change. Change is something that we can count on, and we need to have an upgrade of consciousness on the human plane, and the United States is representing that right now more significantly maybe than other countries. So the conversation is difficult. If you've ever had a close friend and maybe in a partnership, and the relationship needs to change. In order for both people to be happy within it, it has to change. So there has to be a conversation. And one person may be shocked, like, what are you talking about? Why are we having this conversation now? Everything was fine. And the other friend or partner is going, well, no, it's not fine anymore for me. I can't live like this, or I don't enjoy our time together if it's going to continue the way it is. I don't like it. So that's the type of conversation that's kind of loud and uncomfortable between strangers, even in the US. But these conversations are important. They're necessary. Think of it as an education that's occurring. And even when we're talking about people in partnership or close personal friends, sometimes that conversation requires a separation for a period of time, some sort of pause in the time together while both people reflect on something that's moving. It's moving in a different direction. It's changing its stripes. It needs to. It can't continue the way that it was. So it can be shocking for some people and not shocking for others. But either way, it's uncomfortable. But this discomfort, I would love for you to embrace, because this is how we grow. This is how we learn. One person seems to notice the discomfort more than another and is asking for change, and the other person doesn't want any change, wants everything maybe to go back to how it was 10 years ago, or in some cases 50 years ago. It's like a lot of people in the US wish it was the 1950s right now. It's hysterical. Like, we can't go back to the 1950s, just like a partnership can't go back to the way they perceived their love and their connection that was 20 or 30 years ago. Everybody changes, circumstances change, the planet changes, communication changes, everything shifts. So the conversation is uncomfortable, but we're going to start to see some light. I think the light's already cracking in, right? It's cracking in. And sometimes the light moves inward just so that the other person can see that their friend or their partner is not going to stop their forward movement. They're not going to. So that means that they themselves, the partner, the friend, the fellow countryman, has to reevaluate how they see the world, how they see their friends, their loved ones. They have to reevaluate. And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But like all relationships that we hope don't end, because we don't want that, right? We want them to continue. We learn to compromise. We learn to reevaluate. We learn to shift our belief systems. We learn to recognize that the past is gone. We're not going back to the 1940s or whatever it is that some people in the United States want to happen. Like, we can't go back. It's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. So I just want you to rest into this space that know that even though it's uncomfortable and it's odd, and we wish it would all go away tomorrow, and that we were all on the same page or really close to the same page so we could have a better ease and flow in all of our relationships. We're moving in that direction, but I want you to embrace this time. This is a fortunate time. You're living in a fortunate time where new things are going to happen. New belief systems are going to occur. There are many people in the United States who are going, well, this country over here has free healthcare, and this country over here has universal healthcare, and this country that we send billions of dollars to also has free education. So there are a lot of people who didn't know that about the rest of the world. They may not have traveled. They may not have read a lot about other nations and their policies and their belief systems, and the fact that they are more evolved in many ways than Americans are. So I just want you to be patient, to enjoy this time in our collective conscious growth and reevaluation, that it's important, it's necessary, we're on the right track, we're moving forward. It's just a lot of people were sleeping and missing something that doesn't exist any longer. Like, we can't go back to a country where women were primarily housewives and that everything was governed only by white men. We can't go back to that. It's not feasible. It's not practical. They're trying really hard, but we're not going to go back. So it's the adjustment. The adjustment's happening. It's occurring. And we all need to just be patient and be grateful for where we are. This is an incredible opportunity. Just go back to a time in your life where someone you love or loved couldn't see you in the way that you were changing. And maybe you had to break free for a long time or forever so that you could propel your energy to move forward. And you did. And then they also move forward too. It may have not have been on your timeline, may not have been the way you hoped that they would, but they did. So that's what's happening. And 2026, I think, is going to be a positive movement towards this more global awareness, especially when it comes to the United States. And I also think it's really healthy that we don't think that one country is the best country in the world. We all have positives and negatives, and we all just need to help each other and be there for one another, equally, compassionately, consciously growing. So buckle up for fun. Please enjoy the process. Only good will come of this. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the phone lines, and I'll listen to these questions and answer them.
Hello, Marie. This is Ania speaking from Scotland, originally from Poland. I have a question. You mentioned in your podcast before that if we want something, well, there's two options from what I could see from the podcast. We could either think about it as a it's already, the other option is to love the situation we are in, either
Yeah.
our health or job or house, whatever. So I'm not sure which one is it, or in which situation should we use. So for example, if I want a new job, should I love my current job first? Or can I imagine I'm already in a different job or relationship or house?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure, and I've got a feeling it depends on the situation, or maybe the vibration of the person, but I'm not sure. So could you explain that? Thank you.
Of course. Of course, I absolutely can, and I would be happy to. And hello to where you're living now. I think you said you're in Poland right now, but you're from Scotland. It's actually both. So it's not one or the other. You have to hold the energy of both. You have to find something that you authentically, if we're talking about work, enjoy about your job. So it could be that you like the color of your desk. It could be that you like the paint on the wall. It doesn't have to be super significant, but it does need to be an authentic feeling of joy or love, appreciation, because we want your energy to be elevated, because whatever job you're moving into is, we want it to be a higher frequency. We don't want a lateral move, right? We want a vertical move, right? So you have to enjoy where you are while you're also feeling that you already have what you want. And you don't even have to know what it is. You don't have to know what your new job is. You just know you're thrilled, energized, fascinated, excited, grateful for the wealth that it brings you. So you have to hold those at the same time, or as often as you can at the same time. Because if we're annoyed by our job, we lower our frequency. And then it's hard to raise our vibration to be in that multisensory manifesting ability of feeling what we want as if it's already here. Right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, great question, by the way. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. My name is Judith. I am calling from the Bay Area, and I had a question about depression.
Mm,
It's something I've struggled with since I was a child,
mm,
and I also became a therapist to study it, actually.
mm.
We teach what we want to know about, right? Anyway, I wanted to get your take on it. Is it something that is man-made, occurs in the brain, or is it some spiritual conflict, or any insight you have about it would be helpful. And most importantly, how to disconnect from it or how to remove it
Right.
from your life.
Yeah.
I've tried to logically understand its purpose and what it's trying to tell me, or whatever, but it has been a challenge to be sure. So I'd appreciate any insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judith. That's a great question. And thank you for all the work you do in the world. I truly appreciate it. Yes, depression is mind made for anywhere between 93 to 97% of the population. That means it's from overthinking, overanalyzing, overprocessing. So most people, now I'm in a different percentage, but 98% of the people I work with, most of them actually don't think they're happy. They don't think they're fulfilled. They don't feel joy. They think they're anxious. They don't always use the word depressed. They don't feel stability in their life. And then I teach them. It's really easy to do one-on-one. It's a little bit harder in a group, but I teach it in all my classes as well. How to let the energy out of your brain, because the brain doesn't need a lot of energy. When we overthink, analyze, and process, we pull subatomic particles that are present throughout our physical form into our brain. And then that overthinking and analyzing, which is a fear concept, because the ego's in the brain. So that creates anxiety, depression, victimization, all of that type of worry, doubt comes from overthinking, analyzing, and processing. So if you could just creatively imagine that you're pulling subatomic particles, maybe it looks like chocolate pudding to you, or rainbows, or maybe it looks like subatomic particles, and it's your energy. You can direct it to wherever you want. To wherever you want it to be, you can direct it. So you imagine creatively that you're pulling it out of your mind, bringing it down to the lower half of your body. I like to rest a big portion of my energy in my pelvic area or hips or glutes, but it can be in your toes. Sometimes the further away from the brain makes it much easier. And then you want to ask yourself, what am I really feeling when your energy is in the lower half of your body? Because your real emotions are in the second layer of your auric field. Everyone's is. It's called the emotional response system, but it's not in the brain. The brain is connected to the sixth layer of the auric field. So you want to get out of your head, stop thinking, analyzing, and processing, and move into authentic feelings. Real feelings are calm. Even if someone's authentically angry or sad, there's an observational quality to it, like a curiosity and an interest, instead of that reactive kind of experience that a lot of people think are what feelings create, but they don't. So yes, smarty pants, mind-made emotions. They feel very real, but the brain can't feel. It just only will recite to you what you think a lot about. It'll just keep reciting it over and over and over again. Great question. Thank you.
Hi, Maria. This is Tina in Sarasota. And I wanted to ask you about my brother. My brother passed away many years ago, unexpectedly, and we weren't notified for quite some time. And I would love to know if he had anything to say to me. And yeah, that's it. And thank you for your work. It's lovely.
Oh, thank you. You know, your brother's a little bit of an odd duck, is how I describe him. I had to kind of hunt for him. And he is on the other side. He crossed over. But I almost feel like maybe he wasn't happy on Earth, and maybe he is still not as happy as he could be on the other side. It's like he's figuring out what happiness means, what joy means. And so it took me a little while to find him. And then when I found him, he kind of came running. Wait a minute, kind of a thing. He says, thank you to everyone on Earth, the family and friends who still to this day send him prayers and words of encouragement and gratitude, and that they miss him. He says it's overwhelming. He says that heaven is just a little too happy for him. Not always. He's starting to get comfortable with it. But some people are working on feeling joy, even in the physical realm, because if you can find tactile sensations or emotional responses, smells, taste, have that physical adventure into pleasure, it helps us if we haven't been able to feel comfortable with the high frequency on the other side. So he said that was one of the reasons why he reincarnated, was to find personal joy. He's very empathetic, your brother, and it was kind of confusing for him to feel the emotions of others. And he thought that some of those emotions were his, but he looks robust and smiling and figuring stuff out. But he's extremely grateful for all the prayers and love he receives from all of the friends and family. He is grateful. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Lisa, and I live in Eugene, Oregon. I've got an interesting question for you about soul ages. You were recently talking about it on a podcast. And so I'm just curious, with everything that's going on in the United States, do we have a lot of really young souls here?
Yes.
Because there's so many countries like in Europe where they have healthcare for everybody, well, everywhere else in the world. And, it just seems like maybe there's a lot more older souls where they take care of people and they care, or the systems are set up and people go along with it. So I'm just really curious about that. Thank you. Goodbye.
Welcome. That's a great question, Lisa, a really good question. So what the United States is missing are medium souls. So yes, right now on Earth, we have about 50% younger souls and 50% older souls. We don't have a lot of medium souls on Earth, and particularly in the US. It's like they're gone. And medium souls are practical. They're very practical. What happens is that a medium soul, practical, in the middle, not taking everything so personally, looks at a younger soul when they're doing something ridiculous. At least this is what an old soul thinks. And they look at the younger soul and they go, oh, stop it, knock it off. Don't do that anymore. And the young soul goes, okay. And then the medium soul will look at the older soul who's been shocked at the younger soul's behavior and just goes, everything's fine. Just never mind. It's all good. So we're missing that, especially in the US. We don't have a lot of medium souls. So it's kind of a yikes polarization. If 50% of the population seeing things in one particular light and 50% of the population seeing things in a completely different light. All the medium souls must be living in other parts of the world. Not a lot are living in the United States right now. I think, though, we needed this polarization so that we could get clarity about what we really want, what's in our best interest for everyone, not just for older souls, not just for younger souls, but for everyone. And we're starting to see that now, where a lot of people believed that a lot of the programs created mostly by Democrats, but some by some Republican presidents who were probably medium souls. Like I think former President Reagan was a medium soul, where they could compromise or come up with things that were helpful for both people of the aisle. And so some of the younger souls thought that those programs were maybe only for women or only for people of color, which they're for everyone. And then they're finding out that a lot of the programs in the United States were for them too. They're for anyone who needed the help or needed the assistance, who deserved it, right? And so there's kind of a wake up like, oh, I'm in that demographic. I am a person who needs help and assistance. Oh, it's not about skin color. It's not about gender. Although, we're trying to make it that way. Okay. Yeah, great question. We need more medium souls in the United States, but they must have left decades ago. They all moved to Europe and Mexico or other parts of the country or the world. I mean, they moved to other parts of the world because they could tell, oops, it's going to be a little funky in the US. So they moved away a long time ago. We need them to move back pronto. Okay, great question.
Hi, Marie. And also, hello, Charles, if you are in the room. This is Jessica from Ohio. I left you a message a while back and you actually answered it. And
Good.
you gave me some helpful advice. So
Good.
it was referring to my daughter, who is autistic and at the moment nonverbal, and she's now 5. Well, so I went through a dark period with her, with myself, actually. Her violence was even more, hitting, scratching, kicking, and she even started actually throwing things and breaking things like glass.
Wow.
It actually got to the point whereas I attempted suicide because one day it got to be so bad that I grabbed her and I was fearful that I harmed her. And I was abused as a child by my parents, and I didn't want to create that same cycle with her. So
You would never.
Decided to end things, but clearly I'm still here, and I reached out for some help. And through that incident, I actually received quite a bit of help.
Yay.
Yet it still hasn't. I decided to focus on raising my vibration and uplifting myself. I started meditating more. I started doing what if questions. What if my daughter is fine? And what if I release to the divine, just let it be. And I started actually seeing a healer that actually did sort of like Reiki, but not Reiki. And that helped. It raised my vibration. And oh my goodness, I got happy about different things, and things just started flowing like money coming out of nowhere.
Great.
Yet I'm still having some issues with my daughter. We tried Risperidone. That didn't work out. It had caused her to gain weight and grow breasts. So now we're on fluoxetine, which is something that I take. I take fluoxetine as well, and I'm seeing some improvement. Yet we're still having some difficulties with her. And I've listened to the telepathy tapes, and I've actually tried communicating her with telepathy. She does understand me. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to understand her.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, what can I do to help myself and also help my daughter?
Mm-hmm.
How do I help her? How do I help myself? And in helping myself, help my daughter? That's
Yeah.
my question for you, Marie. I appreciate you and I thank you.
Thank you, Jessica, for your question. And I'm so proud of you. I remember your phone call maybe a couple years ago, and I'm so proud of you. I'm sure it's extremely difficult and hard to get through. And I'm so happy you're still here. I'm sorry for everything you've been experiencing. And congratulations. You're making changes. It's lovely. What I heard as I was listening to your question, I kept hearing the phrase, my daughter, my daughter. And I think that's such a heavy, heavy responsibility. You know, we want our children, we want all the children in the world to be happy and fed and happy and fulfilled, of course. But in particular, the children that we've created or we've welcomed into our home that we're taking care of, we want that. But that's a heavy phrase that makes you feel so uber responsible. So I have a suggestion, and you're doing all the right things. Congratulations again. I'm proud of you, very proud of you. Let's not think of her as your daughter, because first and foremost, she's a soul, as are you, as am I. Those of us who have reincarnated to the earth over many times, we've had many parents, we've been parents to others, siblings, cousins, male, female, all different types of race and religion and cultures. We've seen it, we've heard it all. This is the only place, only physical realities have genetics and DNA. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. And I think if you can start just taking that phrase away, you won't feel so much responsibility because she chose this prior to reincarnating. When kids are born with issues or problems, whatever we want to call them, or let's say if a child needs open heart surgery, they chose that prior to reincarnation. Anything that happens in childhood, we've chosen prior to reincarnation. I know it sounds weird and crazy, but souls are geniuses. They know what they want. Autistic kids who are more on the higher levels of the spectrum, they really want to have this dual experience where they're living in multiple realities because they're experiencing life through a particular reality that the rest of us are not. Kind of reminds me of dogs. You know, dogs have their own reality. They have their own experience. They're kind to almost everyone, loving to almost everyone. They're happy almost every single day. Every second their happiness can build, you know. Not my dog, Charles, who, yes, he is in the room. He's on a beanbag chair right now. You know, he's very picky with food, but other dogs, they can eat the same kibble day after day, and they act like it's the most delicious thing they've ever tried in their life. That's a different reality. So if you kind of just think of her as she's a soul. If you could start to say that in your mind, I'm not asking you to not think of her as your child. No, that's precious and wonderful, and you love her, and you're a wonderful parent. But start to think of her as a soul. I have a brother who is a drug addict. He's been homeless decades, and we don't always know where he is. Of course, we've tried to get him off the streets. It's very difficult. He doesn't want to. You kind of know what I'm talking about. He's a very hardcore kind of addict. And one of my daughters saw him recently because we don't always know where he is. I mean, it's rare actually. And she was just completely shocked. And it was raining, he was wet. And when she went to turn around in her car, because she saw him, but she couldn't park. He was in Seattle, downtown area. And she went to turn him around and she couldn't find him. She alerted the rest of the family. We went and got a whole bunch of warm clothes and, everything that we would need. And my daughter looked for him for days and days and days, did not find him. And she goes, Mom, what should I do with these clothes? And I go, well, if you don't see him after a while, give it to someone else who's on the street. We can always get more if we find him again. And it was the universe who told me many years ago when I realized I could help other people heal. I was so excited because my brother was already having, health issues at that time and abusing drugs and living on the streets. And I was so excited. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to help him. He wouldn't even come to the house, let alone lay on a massage table. And the universe said to me that, quite frankly, what's wrong with your brother's life? Why do you want his life to look like yours? What if this is the life he ordered for important reasons for his soul's progression? And that was very eye-opening to me. It allowed me to honor his choices. So imagine if we could all honor the choices that souls are making. We're always going to be there, many of us, to help others anytime we can, or we have the opportunity. That's a lovely thing. But at the same time, I think we have to honor the choices of a soul. And I think when we do that, we don't think of them as family and that we're failing them, or that, oh, we have to work harder. What's wrong with us? Whatever it is that comes into the mind, I think we, of course, given the opportunities and the things that might work for your daughter in the future, of course, you're helping her every single day. You're working very hard, actually, taking excellent care of her. But think of her as a soul, not as your daughter. And it might help to expand the energy, because the one thing that all the family members noticed, other than the most recent scene of my brother, was that he's usually very happy, smiling, singing, dancing when they catch a glimpse of him, when they find him. So let's celebrate the choices that souls are making and honor their choices. Let's see how that helps. You're doing a great job. I'm very proud of you.
Hello, Marie. This is Beth in Georgia. And I just want to say thank you so much for what you do. I stumbled across you and you have made such a tremendous impact on my life. I feel like I'm really growing and learning from you. Okay, so now to my question.
Yeah.
I had cancer about 18 years ago. The tumor showed up on my left thigh. And by the time they found the tumor, it had already metastasized into my lymph nodes. So lymph nodes from my stomach down through my groin on the left side have been removed.
Right.
The doctors would told me that I'd have a little bit of fluid retention, but it wouldn't really be an issue. Well, it is an issue. It's very painful, and it seems like it's getting worse as I'm getting older. So I was hoping that you could give me an idea what to do, or talk to my spirit, say, hey, what's going on? I appreciate anything that you can advise me on. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Beth. And I'm grateful for the surgery that you had to remove the cancer. I'm sorry that, many lymph nodes had to be removed also, which, makes it difficult to move lymphatic fluid. So you know this, of course, Beth, that fluid moves through the lymphatic system and it ultimately leaves the body, through the skin, through urine. It finds its own unique way from initially the lymphatic system. And when we don't have lymph nodes or a large amount of them in certain areas of the body, we tend to get edema, and it is painful. It makes it really tight, super uncomfortable. Well, let's first talk about, and the doctors obviously did a great job, so we're going to be grateful for that. Let's talk about the left-hand side of the body. And lymph nodes are receivers, right? They receive toxins, they move fluid, and the whole left-hand side of the body is about receptivity as well. So having a health issue on the left-hand side of the body and then the lymph nodes involved, it makes me suspicious. Well, I already know that receiving is not your favorite thing. And the hips are about moving forward, right? Moving forward in one's life. So I think you need to move forward in your ability to receive. Let people love you, adore you, cherish you, be kind to you. I was recently, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I was in a town in my state and I found this really beautiful runner carpet for the hallway outside of this room, actually. And so I went to purchase it. And the man said to me, goes, no, we don't let people buy these. We let them take them home. We won't take a credit card. We'll just take your name and just call us back in a couple of weeks. If you want to purchase it, you can just give us the credit card number over the phone, or you can return it. We just want you to go try it out and see if you like it. And I was like, I wanted to talk to him about, no, I want to buy this. I want to pay for it right now. I just felt bad that I'm going to take something that I haven't paid for, put it in my car. I have to get on a ferry, go home. Like, I don't live in that town. And then I just took a deep breath and I heard the universe said, receive, be spoiled a little, we know you're going to pay for it. It's fine. So I said, I was gracious and said, thank you so much. I've never heard of that before. And so I took it home and, I was back on the island recently, so I paid for it in person. So you need to let people adore you, cherish you, take care of you, love you in any circumstance. Whenever you have an opportunity, when anyone is saying, oh my gosh, you're just so gorgeous, let's not make excuses. Oh yeah, I just got my hair done, or yeah, the lighting's really good. Like, no excuses. If someone wants to help you, your answer is yes. So we can get that lymphatic fluid moving so it finds a different way to circulate in your body, right? That's what I think needs to happen. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know. Thank you, Beth.
Hi, Marie. My name is Wendy. I love your work and love the what if questions. As a Gemini rising and Mercury and Pluto conjunct in Virgo, I'm learning to get out of my head, but I really do love research. I'm 63, a flight attendant for 35 years, and I have a health issue that's really challenging me. I come from an abusive childhood. I worked with many therapists and body workers over 40 years to learn how to feel my feelings, set boundaries, and release that trauma. I continue that work to this day. 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with fibroids, and I had a partial hysterectomy. I was still fertile at that time. A year later, I was diagnosed with hashimotos thyroiditis, and 6 months later, fibromyalgia. Last August, I had an emergency gallbladder surgery that really depleted me, so that didn't help either. I've tried many modalities to treat the fibromyalgia, acupuncture, drugs, physical therapy, and it seems to be getting worse. I'm just not sure what to do next. My body seems unreliable, and it's hindering my ability to work as a flight attendant. Sometimes exercise helps, sometimes it doesn't. The fatigue can be overwhelming and unexpected. It's difficult to make plans and follow through. My great love is traveling and exploring, but I haven't felt confident about doing that for years, fearing I might spend all my time in bed in a foreign country instead of enjoying myself there. I also wonder if I should try to find a different job, even an online business where I could work from home.
Yeah.
I love helping others plan epic trips,
Yeah.
especially for women in transition, as I was after my divorce in 1994. And I wonder, am I not trying hard enough?
No.
Is there something else I could be doing to feel better?
Yeah.
Should I just retire? How can I be useful moving forward? How can I experience more joy in my life? Maybe this is normal aging combined with the fibromyalgia.
No.
I just don't know, but any insight you have might help me move forward and feel some personal power and clarity around this. Thank you for all you do. I really appreciate you. Sending you so much love.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you for everything you do. So let's not work anymore on this abusive childhood. You already worked on it. Let's move out of it. Let's not think about it that way. I want you to create a brand new childhood in your head. So that means brand new house, different house, brand new parents, different parents that can look like orbs of light. And you are adored and loved and cherished, and you're considered a sacred member of the family. I don't want you to think about your childhood anymore. You've done too much work on it. So you've done too much, right? You haven't let go. You haven't surrendered. Fibroids are about repressed anger. Fibromyalgia is about repressed sadness and grief and pain. So we're spending too much time on something that happened decades ago that you need to let go of, and you need to not go there anymore in the way that you have, because you have done the work. We need to graduate from it and not spend our time kind of victimizing ourselves. I know that's not your intention, but we have to let go of it. Create a new childhood. Let that be the place that you go to whenever you want to think about being a kid, not what happened, not especially not your perception as a child. Right? Like we don't want to do that anymore. It's a waste of time. Then I think you need, what would be great is to near infrared and red light therapy. I like platinum therapy or Red Rush, which is, I think, from the Red Therapy Company, and hormones. So bioidentical hormones, because hormones are part of the immune system, and all of these things are immune related, all of them. So if we start to take healthy bioidentical hormones from compounded pharmacies, then that's going to feed your immune system. And then we get you also starting to feel love for yourself, like just adoring and cherishing and loving yourself. It's extremely helpful. Then I think it would be great if you created your own like travel company where you could take people on trips. You know how to do it. Yeah, it could be online and you organize it maybe 4 times a year, something of that nature. You know how to do it. And then you can have your travel and fun. Maybe they travel for a week with you or with someone in the company that you're building. And if you happen to be there, then you get to travel on your own for another week. So I think you're going to feel a whole lot better. I don't think aging is normal. I do not. I don't think so. So let's try to get some HRT in your body, hormone replacement therapy, from a naturopathic physician so that bioidentical hormones can be used because they're plants, not horse urine. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the program. Super fun. Really enjoyed it. I hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving a few days ago. And I look forward to coming back to our podcast shortly. I'm going to be interviewing some people coming up. I'll let you know as that becomes a part of the schedule. And remember, I have classes coming up. If you want to learn more, please take my classes. You're going to love them. You can find my current classes that will be available starting in January on my website, energyintuitive.com. Bye-bye.